Omaha's news leader, chronicling the stories and people making a difference in our community. This is KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle.
When you start trying to take a loss like this, it's unheard of, you know. This is something that could run me out of business.
I hope we don't lose everything. That's pretty much all I was thinking about.
It's devastating. I mean, you look around and everybody's basically homeless, doesn't have anywhere to go.
It's really an emotional process because people are having to decide what to keep and what to throw away, and it's everything in their life.
I never fail to be inspired in moments like this. The way communities come together and people volunteer, put themselves in harm's way to help others. It's just the best of America. I mean, this shows the heart and the heartland.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Rob McCartney. Welcome to KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle. Well, we've seen the devastating impacts of the flooding. More than half the counties in Nebraska, several in Iowa have declared emergencies. Early estimates show $1.4 billion in damage in Nebraska. In Iowa, it's a little bit more, $1.6 billion. And everyone expects those numbers to go higher. Well, in this half hour, we'll speak with the Army Corps of Engineers going to one of the levees that was breached and get an update on the current situation there. Plus, different ways you can help flooding victims or apply for help if you need it. First, from Sioux City to Falls City and beyond, so many cities and people are dealing with the floodwaters and the aftermath. It's a flood that hit hard and fast.
Incredible.
It starts with ice-jammed rivers breaking up, taking out bridges and levees. It quickly becomes a crisis when 7 rescuers need to be rescued outside Fremont when their boat capsizes, spending an hour and a half in the frigid, fierce waters.
We were up against some pretty grim realities.
National Guard Black Hawk helicopters finally pull them from the water. Those choppers also save other families near Arlington, lifting 3 people from the roof of a home. Along the Missouri, towns race to evacuate. In Pacific Junction.
It's clear up to the windows in my house now.
And in Hamburg.
We're just in a mad rush to get everything out and beat the water.
But the water's everywhere, forcing houses off foundations, turning Fremont, a city of 26,000, into an island. Look closely. Some resort to horseback to get through the flooded streets. Major roads in and out are underwater. Highway 275, Q Street, and West Dodge, keeping a lot of people from their homes.
I don't have anything with me. I don't have extra clothes. I don't have any of that.
Offutt puts up an early fight, but surrenders to the floods. A third of the base ends up underwater, forcing the cancellation of this summer's air show. Ironically, the extra water leads to water restrictions. Lincoln's wells are in the Platte River, and the capital city brings in massive sandbags to limit the damage. In Plattsmouth, the treatment plants are surrounded. Cass County Rural Water donates temporary drinking water. It's called Nebraska Strong, when a convoy of donated food and fuel is escorted into Fremont. When private pilots offer up their planes and their time, shuttling people and supplies.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
When airboat pilots mobilize on all the rivers, rescuing family after family.
I just couldn't sit at home. There's just too much going on and people needed it.
Now 3 people died in the floods and so did countless pets. In Valley, a family that rescues alpacas can't this time.
That last moment that you see one of your animals looking at you and you can't save them, and it's just the worst feeling ever.
Some animals are saved, here by Bellevue Police.
Oh my God.
And in Pacific Junction, these animals are found during a different water rescue. And in western Nebraska, cattle get relief from a rare hay bale airdrop, a National Guard effort. Now, the rebuilding effort will take years. It's easy to see why. Just look at the roads. In Nebraska, West Dodge.
Well, this looks like stuff that comes out of an earthquake movie.
And Q Street.
The damage is excessive. I mean, it looks like an earthquake happened there.
In Iowa, I-29 with huge debris dumped in the fields, and Highway 34 with businesses alongside sunk. Now, with all the damage to roads, homes, and agriculture, early estimates hit $1.5 billion just in Nebraska. It's enough for federal relief from the Trump administration. And Vice President Mike Pence comes to see the destruction and determination firsthand.
I never fail to be inspired in moments like this. the way communities come together. And
coming together, giving what they can.
American Red Cross, good morning.
When they can. It's Nebraska.
We will rebuild better and bigger than we have before.
And Iowa.
This is for our families. They need this.
Strong.
But it just makes you feel good that people care. That people care.
They do care, and that's what Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts repeatedly points out as he assesses the damage. KETV News Watch 7's Michelle Bandor spoke with the governor to get an update on federal funding and how long we might be paying for the flood damage.
Governor Pete Ricketts, thank you so much for being with us. What can you tell us is the current flood damage situation in the state?
Well, we're still going through the analysis, and FEMA right now is going through the various counties to qualify them for the individual assistance and public assistance to the counties. They haven't done that yet. You know, we're still estimating it's about $400 million in livestock damage, about $440 million in crop damage, $439 million to our roads. We've got 15 bridges out, 258 miles of roads that need to be repaired. So we know we have a lot of work to recover, but we've seen great spirit from Nebraskans, our first responders, our law enforcement, volunteers, the victims. Everybody's just had a great spirit, great willingness to recover. It really, you know, gives meaning to the words Nebraska Strong.
Well, that is staggering. Those numbers are staggering. $1.4 billion total is what we're thinking. And so how long do you think we'll be paying for the flood, and what impact should a typical homeowner expect?
Well, here for our homeowners, one of the things to really know is they need to start by registering for FEMA, and they can go to disasterassistance.gov website there. If they go on their smartphone and go to the App Store, they can search FEMA and get an app downloaded there. So there's a variety of ways, and we're also going to have these disaster recovery centers open as the FEMA people get here and get those set up. So that'll be another opportunity. They can call in. So there'll be a variety of ways people can register. One of the things we really want people to know is that they need to document their damage. So, you know, the natural inclination of people is just to start cleaning up, but please take pictures, videos, anything of the damage ahead of time so that your claim doesn't get rejected down the road when you can't prove you had the damage. It's also going to be important that you collect any information with regard to insurance. If you're going to get rejected by your insurance, you're going to need a letter back from them. So there is a process to go through. But once you get filed, what will happen is we'll have these disaster teams that will go around the state. They'll knock on everybody's door. They'll set up an appointment, but they'll go to everybody's house individually and assess the damage and then determine what kind of assistance they'll get. I think it's important to also remember that the individual assistance is really just to kind of get people started back up again. So these are not the replace your house dollars. What FEMA really is going to be looking for is your insurance to be able to start there. There'll also be small business loans available at low interest rates for homeowners as well as renters, not just small businesses. And those will be, you know, starting for those homeowners like at 2.06%. So again, low interest rates there. And then of course there'll be the nonprofits who will also have funds available to be able to help people recover as well. So a variety of different pots that people should be looking for to be able to help get that assistance.
So do you think it will trickle down into, you know, folks who weren't affected by the flood, but as far as, you know, having to get into the general budget or raising taxes, that sort of thing, you know, or finding taxes somewhere from other folks, other places to eventually pay for this? And how long do you think it will be before, you know, that we're paying for the damages?
Yeah, so, you know, FEMA will pick up 75% of the cost, and then the state generally picks up 12.5% and counties the other 12.5%. And some of the work the county does actually will count toward that 12.5%. We're really at the early assessment stage, so it's difficult to know how it's going to impact our budget. But we also know that, for example, we don't pay for the construction on roads until it's constructed. So this will be a multi-year process. So the money that the state will have to kick in will be spread over a period of years. And what we'll look to do is try and manage that within our budget with regard to how we pay for all this.
Okay. So what can the state do to prepare for another flood of this magnitude? I know we're talking about up north and preparing for that. So, I mean, how can you prepare for this?
Well, it's really difficult to see how we could have prepared for this because this really was a record event in our state. I mean, if you compound it with the blizzard in the Panhandle, as well as the rains that we got, it came on top of snow that was on the ground and frozen ground. You know, we set records in the Niobrara, the Platte, the Loup, the Elkhorn, and the Missouri River. And you just can't really predict those sort of things. You know, for example, I was talking to the folks in Plattsmouth. after the 2011 flood, they rebuilt the levees and put them up higher. They thought they'd never see a flood event as high as 2011, and of course, we beat that record. So it is difficult, but you know, one of the things we know we're going to have to do is actually this spring flooding season is not over. So we're going to need to work with the Army Corps of Engineers. We're going to have to repair some of the levees as quickly as possible so that if we have additional weather events and of course the snowpack runoff from the Rockies, all of that is going to mean river levels are probably going to continue to remain high. So we need to make sure that we're prepared to handle that water that's going to be coming into our state really, you know, throughout the spring and summer.
It's overwhelming to think about.
Well, we certainly have a lot of work left ahead of us, but I got to tell you, we got a great team. We've just had phenomenal response from the local folks. You know, our county emergency managers have been working around the clock, our law enforcement, first responders, volunteers. We've had tremendous response from the federal government. FEMA has been fantastic to work with. Paul Taylor, their Region 7 administrator, was up here on the ground helping us get set up. You know, we got the disaster declaration in record time, just 2 days. So we've got a lot of support from people not only in the state but outside the state to be able to deal with not only this current issue but the other issues that may come down the road with regard to the flooding.
Governor, thank you. Rob, back to you.
All right, now if you're interested in applying for federal disaster relief, you can start at the website disasterassistance.gov, or you can call 1-800-621-3362. USDA is also offering assistance to farmers and ranchers. That number, 1-800-831-0550. If you have a small business and are feeling the effects of the flooding, Small Business Administration wants to help. They've set up a business recovery center at Bellevue University. You have until May 20th to apply for property damage assistance, until December 23rd to apply for economic injury aid. Now, plenty of people are looking for ways to pay for the damage. That means insurance. And joining me now is Bruce Ramsey. He is the director of the Nebraska Department of Insurance. Thanks very much for being here.
My pleasure, Rob.
So, all right. So first, what can homeowners do if they haven't already? I mean, we're 2 weeks removed from this flooding.
Well, it's important to communicate with your insurance agent or insurance company. And as you get started with the cleanup process, make certain to document everything. If pictures are great, if you're disposing of carpeting, you know, maybe keep a sample of that carpet so you can show the quality and type of carpet that you are replacing. Even though homeowners insurance generally excludes flood damage, your agent or company might help you find other types of coverages that will cover other losses, you know, like automobile insurance may have some coverage in there for your automobile, recreational policies, those types of things. Some policies have sewer backup coverage if that was the issue. So it's good to communicate and document.
So walk me through briefly, Bruce, if you could, the claims process. If I wanted to file a claim, what should I expect to come up?
Well, basically, notification of your insurance company is extremely important. And if you have flood insurance, also it's good to have the disposition of your homeowner's insurance policy first, so that the flood insurance program can determine how much they should pay.
Sure.
And again, preventing further loss is important. So you don't want mold to get started. So as soon as it's able to be dried out and cleaned up, that's really important.
Now, some people didn't have flood insurance. They said they tell us they were told they didn't have to get flood insurance.
A lot of people buy flood insurance because it's required for their mortgage company. And I really think that everyone should consider buying flood insurance, whether or not you live in a flood prone area. You never know. This was a really rare event, and I think it caught a lot of homes by surprise. So it's available to anyone if your community participates in the FEMA program. So it should be considered not just as a requirement for mortgage, but for everyone.
And so even if you pay off your mortgage, you shouldn't get rid of your flood insurance, right?
That's right. That's right.
You have also consumer hotline. I know we have that information. We put it on the screen. It's 1-877-564-7323. People can call the number. Also, you have a web page. What can people expect to get from this consumer hotline? What kind of questions do you like to hear? What kind of advice do you give them?
We can help out by directing people to the right place if they need contact information for their insurer, or if they feel like they have a disagreement about how their insurance was handled, we can assist with that. And we're always happy to help out as much as we can.
Right. And the people who don't have flood insurance, is that going to impact the rest of us? Is there any way that we would be picking up the slack, if you will?
Well, not that I can really think about, but I would encourage individuals to look into the assistance programs for this event. And also, if you have flood insurance, don't hesitate to file a claim. It won't be discounted against you.
Right.
So.
And do it right away, right?
Right.
All right.
Right.
Hey, Bruce, thanks very much for joining us today. Good advice, and hopefully people will reach out to you and help.
Thank you, Rob.
You bet. All right, the work continues on repairing the flood damage. Army Corps of Engineers plugging breaches on a number of levees.
All of the levee systems, from where the confluence of the Platte comes in south to the Missouri border, have been compromised.
All of them. And after that staggering announcement, we went to one of the biggest breaks, the Union Dike levee. It flooded the valley area. And next, we're going to go there with the Corps to see the repairs and what's happening with other levees. You're watching KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle. Welcome back to KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle. I'm here on Union Dike, which is just west of Valley, Nebraska. It's being repaired right now. And joining me is Lieutenant Colonel James Startzel. He is with the Army Corps of Engineers, the Omaha District. Colonel, thanks very much for joining here. Tell me exactly what's happening here.
So what we have right here is we've got something called an emergency initial breach repair going on the Valley Dike, or the Union Dike, right next to the Platte River. And what happened was, based on the unregulated flows that came down the Platte, the Elkhorn, even farther north, the unregulated tributaries there, we had a significant rise in the water level here. And what you'll see over here is there's a 30-foot deep scour hole. As the water swirled around, it eroded the toe of the levee, and it eventually breached the levee.
And we're talking about a 500-foot breach or what?
So this particular breach is one of the smaller ones, and it's about 300 feet in length and about 32 feet deep. Some of the other areas in the Missouri River that we're seeing, the breach length is much longer, 1/4 mile, 60 feet deep in some areas.
Okay, and what is the situation with other levees and other dams in the area?
So within the Missouri River Valley, from the Platte south, we've got about 52 breaches in the levee system. And all the levee systems between Omaha and Rulo, Nebraska, what happened when that unregulated flow of water came down is they all overtopped. And out of those levee systems, 10 of the 14 systems actually breached, which is where you got a hole created in the levee from a scouring effect or a cutting into the toe of the levee.
A scour hole, explain what that is.
Yeah, so what happens is, especially in areas where two water bodies are coming together, two rivers, there's turbulence created, and the water creates a little, like a whirlpool effect that erodes away at the toe of the levee, eventually cutting into it and sometimes breaching it.
And some of the material they're using here, it looks like riprap and rocks. What exactly are they using? And I understand there's a supply concern too.
Yeah, with all the recovery work in the area, plus all the normal demand of construction in the area, materials are in high demand. So what they're doing right there is they're armoring the front of the levee to prevent further erosion for the next few weeks until we can get a permanent repair in place. But what they have to do in the interim is they have to use suitable concrete that will still fulfill the same intent as riprap, but it's not quite what we would use in new construction usually.
We are not done with flooding season. In fact, we're just really beginning flooding season. What are you going to tell people?
Yeah, well, what we're really telling people is, first of all, be safe. If you're ever near an area that's got water coming over the roadway, do not drive through it. And around construction sites, as repairs are going on, stay away from the construction sites if you can, because there's a lot of loose soil. You might fall into the water body, you might get near construction equipment. The second thing is, it's going to take a while to repair all of these breaches along the system from here to Rulo, Nebraska. And we just want people to be safe. We want people to understand that it'll be a while before we can get permanent fixes in place.
Right, and there's still some snow melt that's happening up in South Dakota, north of us. Y'all have just released more from the Gavins Point Dam. There are people downriver who are not happy with that. They say, why do you have to do that? How do you explain that to the people in Hamburg who are saying, why release more water? We're already underwater.
Yeah, we're certainly concerned about the conditions along the river, especially the people in Hamburg. And what happened was, or what we expect to happen is in the next few weeks here, as the spring, the warmer temperatures come out and melt the snow, we do expect a lot of snow melt, especially over the next week, because this is really the first warm week that we've had. And because of all that snow melt, a lot of the unregulated tributaries coming into Gavins Point Dam have filled up all of the reservoir capacity north of Gavins Point Dam in the Fort Randall Dam. And so to create some room for that continued flow out of the Niobrara River and other tributaries, we've had to release some water from Gavins Point.
Some people think maybe that the Corps is not paying enough attention to homeowners and property owners. They think more about wetlands and recreation economic impact. Is that true? What do you tell them about that?
Well, what I would say is each of our projects, each of our water storage projects has 8 authorized purposes. Really, in the last year, we've been operating almost primarily in a flood control mode, and we've really been doing everything we can to control the flow of water out of there for public safety purposes. Whenever there is a high water event where flood is a concern, the primary mode of operation is for flood control, and we do our best that we can to make sure that that water comes out consistently.
Governor Ricketts says he wants to work with USACE to repair the levees as quickly as possible. Everybody wants that. Finally then, what do you see? What's your prognosis for what happens going further, going along here? Are we looking at a very long time, months, weeks, years, what?
So we're putting together a team right now to assess all the damage along the levees. As you probably know, the water is still too high in a lot of places to fully evaluate the damage. But we've got a team together. We're doing aerial and hydrographic surveillance right now to figure out what the design would be to repair the levee. What we're going to do first is we're going to put in emergency breach repairs, such as the one you see here. Then we'll come back and we'll do interim repairs, which are going to be an upgrade to this. And finally, we'll do a full rehabilitation. That's going to take a long time, and we're still trying to figure out exactly how long that'll take, but probably a year or more.
Okay. All right. Lieutenant Colonel Startzel, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and still to come, do you need help from recovering from the floods, or do you want to help others who need that help recovering from the floods? We're going to talk about that when KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle continues.
It's just amazing how the people come together. You don't even have to ask them. They show up.
We all need to pitch in and help and take care of one another, and that's what I wanted to do.
I just couldn't sit at home. There's just too much going on, and people needed it.
And welcome back to KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle. Several organizations are helping the Metro's flood victims, including the American Red Cross. They have shelters open right now across Nebraska and Iowa. Volunteers also teamed up with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association to put on the Nebraska Strong Drive for Flood Relief. That raised more than $440,000. Salvation Army is also helping with relief efforts. You can donate or pick up items at the former Canfields building near 84th and Center. Army is also working food service operations in multiple flood-impacted cities. Now, the comeback from all the flooding involves big cleanup across both Iowa and Nebraska. You can get involved. Salvation Army is looking for donations like bedding, cleaning supplies, new clothes. If you'd like to volunteer for the Salvation Army, call 402-898-6050. You can also make a monetary donation to redcross.org/donate. But be smart about who you donate to. There are some scammers out there. And a reminder, your comments, they're an important part of the show. If you want to be heard, email us at news@ketv.com. I read them and love hearing from you. Now, we just scratched the surface on the devastation facing our community. You can see more of our stories right now on ketv.com. I'm Rob McCartney. I want to thank everyone who has stepped up to help others impacted by the floods. It's going to be a long haul. Thanks for watching. See you back here next Sunday morning.